We thought we must call this press conference before the national shutdown to give members of the media an opportunity to ask questions about issues that may need more clarity, because so many things have been said about the national shutdown. We welcome the support that we have received from all different types of formations, the ATM, SAFTU, and many other organizations, non-governmental organizations, South Africans who are concerned about the state of affairs in the country. And we once more want to reassure South Africans that this is a national shutdown that is calling on the resignation of the president and the demand of the end to load shedding, and bring to light the issues that affect young people, in particular issues of unemployment, issues of access to higher education, issues of water and electricity in our communities, the potholes that exist everywhere else in our communities, the high levels of crime and GBV, and the high levels of corruption. Also to hold the president accountable, because the president has violated his oath of office. And therefore, we cannot fold our arms when the country is on a brink of collapse. The future generation is going to ask us as to what have you done when the country was faced with so many challenges. And the only thing we can do is to raise our voices. We've got voices that are protected by the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, and we'll use those voices to raise our concerns. Ground forces of the EFF have been everywhere on the ground, mobilizing our people, conscientizing them and making them aware as to what is the importance of this national shutdown. And key, amongst other things, was to drop letters in offices, in the malls, in the banks, in the airports, to make aware everybody else about this type of action that is going to take place. I personally went to meet with the chairperson of the PSL to make him aware, so that he doesn't get surprised that they have certain plans as the PSL and we have other things, and when they respond, it looks like they are clashing with what the EFF is planning. So all what we are doing is not to say there shouldn't be a PSL game. It's to say there will be this type of an activity in the country, and if there is any other planning that you have, please take this into consideration. We are doing the same tonight with the Santaco. Our regions have met with the regional structures, local structures of Santaco. What do we want from Santaco? We want nothing. It's an important stakeholder that must be made aware that the streets are going to be occupied. They use those streets every day. And therefore, it's only courtesy that you go to them and say, we know you use this facility on a daily basis, but please be aware that this facility will be occupied by a protest on the 20th of March. We did the same thing with the malls and the shops and business, precisely because we want to avoid looting. We don't want looting on the 20th of March. But you know that if shops are opened, people take advantage of those shops and engage in illegal activities. We're not saying in any of our letters, close the shop. We're making them aware that there will be a protest on such a day, for them to make preparations to take into consideration that there will be such a thing on that day. So anyone who says we have threatened violence is not telling the truth, because we have not threatened violence. All we did was to be nice to all the stakeholders, because that is in the nature and character of the EFF. So if having been made aware, you do what is in your best interest, it is your call. Don't come back to the EFF and say it must take a responsibility. Now, we've been made aware that the DA has hired agent provocateurs who are going to be planted amongst the protesters of the EFF so that they can undermine the peaceful protest of the EFF, its integrity and its demands, so that everything else is about what the agent provocateurs would have done to divert attention from the demand of Ramaphosa's resignation. That's number one. Number two, that the DA has taken a decision to defend Ramaphosa and is masquerading as protecting business and the economy of South Africa, which is not true. Because the DA in its papers, and you are a journalist, you read, you should have read those papers by now. They are not demanding the interdict. They are not interdicting the protest. They are saying they are interdicting violence and intimidation, which has never happened. How do you interdict non-existing thing? That DA of yours has actually approved the EFF's protest in Western Cape and in the Cape Metro in particular. How do you approve something today and tomorrow want to appear on TV as if you are not going to allow this type of a protest to happen? They've approved it. So everything else John was doing yesterday was just a PR to demonstrate to his funders that he's doing something in defense of Ramaphosa. But in reality, he knows that you can't stop the EFF. Not the DA, not anyone can stop the EFF. Now, the DA says to black South Africans, any protest that doesn't involve white people is going to be violent because black people need puppeting. Someone must come there and puppet us and say, no, don't do this, don't do that. The only difference between what we are doing today, on the 20th of March, and what we did against President Zuma, the only difference is that it doesn't involve the white man. And the white man is a self-appointed supervisor of a black skin. Now that the white man is not involved, now that the white man is not approving, there's going to be violence. And that's what John did. That's why there were 3 white people in that press conference to come and tell us, white people do not approve of this. Because they know clever blacks, anything that is not white approved, they won't be associated with it. They were not talking to me and you. They were talking to the colonial clerks. I saw one of them on Twitter saying, I'm going to work. What about you? Some Bongan, what? Of a journalist say, I'm going to work on Monday. What about you? Good, you have a work. What about so many unemployed people who don't have work? You're showing them a middle finger with such arrogance. You are going to work. Where must these unemployed people go? Since you are able to brag about your job on social media. Not even a little sympathy about these unemployed young people of South Africa and the poverty-stricken South Africans who live in terrible economic conditions. We have to stand up. And don't tell us that the shutdown will make the economy worse than what it is. We had that from Mangosuthu Buthelezi when we called for sanctions. He went around saying there must not be sanctions against apartheid. We called for sanctions against apartheid because we knew that sanctions will force the white supremacists to come and negotiate this freedom we have today. So that argument will not arise because we have been there before. Sellouts always masquerade as if they are concerned, like Mangosuthu did. In the late 80s, when we were calling for sanctions against apartheid, he went around the world saying apartheid must not be sanctions. We wouldn't be where we are today if there were no sanctions against apartheid. So we want a good future. On the 20th of March, we have to shut down this country to show the whole world that we are concerned about the state of affairs. We can't fold our arms. But where are the doomsayers? All of those clever blacks, fools masquerading as clever people, who said, how can he announce a shutdown 2 months before shutdown? It will never happen. It's here now. They're shaking. They thought we were bluffing when we announced this. Every time we speak, there is something, some narrative driven to want to undermine what we are saying. We announced this on the 19th of January, SG. And they say, how can a person announce? Why not tomorrow? Why not? They thought 20th of March will never come. You know why? It's myopic. People with a chicken view, they only see here. We've got the giraffe view. We can see the future. That's why we were never shaken, even when they said, why 2 months? We knew this day will come. Now all of them are running like headless chickens, as if they never knew this day will come. This day has come. Protest has got no formula. It's a protest. We have no permit. If you are going to ask for permit, we don't have permit. We are going to protest. We are not going to march. And to protest, we require no permit from anyone. It is our constitutional right. Enough is enough. That's why we took this decision to put our bodies on the streets. If they want to do anything, let them do it on the 20th of March. We're not scared of them. We will defend the defenseless masses of our people with our bodies. And our bodies will be on the streets, all of us. Every branch of the EFF, every public representative of the EFF, every progressive force will put his or her body on the streets on the 20th of March. Like he did with Marikana, let him do it. Like the apartheid government did with Sharpeville, let history repeat itself. We are not scared. We are ready for anything for the 20th of March. There have been people here, small boys who said, Malema will be stopped, this shutdown will not happen, will physically stop Malema, will be with the president to stop Malema, and threatening Malema's democratic right. There's never been anyone who said Malema is being threatened with violence. And I'm not worried about you not saying that. Only when Malema starts threatening violence, all of you will be having voices. Some boys film themselves all the time here threatening me. And I can tell you with ease, let any boy come and try to stop me. He will meet his maker. When he leaves in the morning, he must kiss his mother goodbye. I've got no time for boys. Let him try and stop me on the 20th of March. He will meet his maker. No boy or a girl can stop me and can take away my right. They say that every day on social media, they film themselves. No one says Malema's right is being threatened. That Malema is being threatened. If my right cannot be defended by the media, by the law enforcement, I've got a legal obligation to defend myself, and I will do it. The same happens to agent provocateurs and outside forces. The fighters have got a responsibility to isolate agent provocateurs and outside forces who want to hijack the march and give it a bad name. And anyone who threatened the right of the fighters and fellow South Africans, defend yourself.
I'm a king, yes, I'm a king, I'm a king.